Welcome to today's deep dive. If you're tuning in, you are really in for something special today. We are exploring a fascinating theatrical text, excerpts from the play text Cale, which reimagines the origin story of a pretty legendary figure.
It really is a brilliant reimagining.
Yeah, and the mission for today is clear. We are going to trace the exact moments a defeated, heavily mocked provincial boy named Savinien transforms into the iconic, larger-than-life Hercule Savinien de Cyrano de Bergerac.
It's quite the glow-up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll look at how his mentor, Paul Scarron, guides this transformation. And then we're going to get into his intense, unrequited love for the brilliant Marion de Lorme, a disastrous balcony scene, and the heartbreaking pivot that actually makes him trade his pen for a sword.
Which is such a profound text to unpack. Because this isn't just a story about a guy with a big nose and a flair for poetry. It is a really deep look at identity, vulnerability, and how a single moment of humiliation can completely alter the trajectory of a person's life.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start right at the beginning of these excerpts. The opening scene is just incredibly bleak. Savinien is at rock bottom. He's sitting in the back room of a Parisian tavern, totally defeated. He's just been kicked out of the College of Beauvais, and his reputation in Paris is ruined by these vicious rumors being spread by a guy named Montfleury.
And we should probably pause here to give you some context on what that actually means.
Right, it's not just a minor setback.
Exactly. In 17th century France, being expelled from Beauvais wasn't just, getting a bad grade. This was a prestigious, very rigid institution. Failing there and having your name dragged through the mud in the salons by someone like Montfleury was essentially social death. He is a complete laughingstock.
Which totally explains his mindset. He's done. He wants to run away, join the army, and probably just die in some random siege. But his Aunt Catherine physically stops him.
She literally grabs his arm.
Yeah, she grabs his arm and reminds him that her own husband died at 30 in a senseless war, leaving her with debts and shame. She flat out refuses to let Savinien throw his life away in the mud when he has this incredible gift for writing.
It's such a heavy moment.
It is, and it makes you wonder, is she saving him out of love or out of her own unresolved trauma?
I think it's likely a mix of both. But the key here is that Aunt Catherine doesn't just stop him from leaving. She actively redirects him. She introduces him to Paul Scarron, who happens to be sitting right there in the tavern.
The perfect right place, right time scenario.
Exactly. And Scarron is this cynical, brilliant, slightly ragged poet who has survived the absolute meat grinder of Parisian society. He's been rich, he's been poor, he's loved, he's lost, and he lives entirely on his own terms.
A true survivor.
Yes, and Scarron immediately steps into this mentor role. He forces Savinien to look at his baggage. He points out that the name Savinien is currently acting as a heavy anchor tied to his past failures.
It's like a modern-day rebrand. Scarron points out that Jean-Baptiste Poquelin changed his name to Molière so he could find freedom on the stage. He tells Savinien to look at this old engraving of Hercules fighting the Hydra.
A bastard who forged his own immortality without the help of the gods.
Right. Scarron is basically saying, look, you can't run away. You have to author your own legend.
What's fascinating here is how Savinien synthesizes this new identity. He doesn't completely erase his past, he augments it.
Wait, so he's basically Frankensteining a new identity out of a mythology textbook and his own family tree.
That is the perfect way to describe it. It's a collage. He chooses Hercule for the effort, the sheer force of will. He keeps Savinien for the man he actually is. He takes Cyrano for the place where courage is named, and Bergerac for the nobility of his heritage.
Hercules Savinien de Cyrano de Bergerac.
Exactly. And crucially, this is the exact moment he stops hiding from the thing he's been mocked for his whole life. His famously large nose. He claims it as his weapon, his column, his cape.
He owns it completely. It's a really bold move, but it does make you wonder if he is genuinely accepting himself or if this is just another layer of armor he's putting on to beat the bullies to the punch,
That is the brilliant tension of the play. It's a classic example of reclaiming the stigma. If you walk into a room and make the joke about yourself first, you disarm your critics. Cyrano is doing exactly that.
And his aunt and Scarron are just watching this kid catch fire right in front of them. So, newly christened, Cyrano steps out into the main tavern toward the stage, the tréteau.
The energy shifts completely here.
It really does. And for you listening, when we say tréteau, don't picture a grand velvet theater. Imagine a rough, temporary wooden platform set up in a loud, smoky tavern. The atmosphere is electric, completely free from kings and cardinals. We even get a quick cameo from Molière himself.
Jean-Baptiste.
Right, Jean-Baptiste. And Molière argues with Cyrano, suggesting that comedy and laughter are better weapons than standing tall and dying proudly.
Which is such a vital debate because it defines Cyrano's entire worldview. Molière represents pragmatic rebellion, bending to survive. But Cyrano is entirely about uncompromising honor. He would rather break in half than bow.
But that philosophical clash gets interrupted by the arrival of Marion de Lorme. She takes the stage and the whole tavern just goes dead silent.
She is a force of nature.
Truly.
Yeah.
And she delivers this fiercely feminist poem about women finding their voice and power on the stage, turning their pens into literal steel.
It is a demand to be seen as a warrior of words, not just an object of affection.
And Cyrano's reaction is just, he is utterly mesmerized. Pushed by Scarron and his aunt, Cyrano takes the stage next. He delivers a thunderous manifesto about refusing to bow down, defending the truth, and being intensely proud of his nose. The crowd goes wild.
It's his baptism by fire. But we have to analyze the aftermath because it sets up the rest of the tragedy. Marion approaches Cyrano, deeply impressed by his authenticity.
She sees that he's the real deal.
She really does. And as a gesture of profound respect, she gifts him a beautiful silver pen to replace the one of his mother's that was broken during his humiliation at Beauvais.
She tells him that what is broken can be reborn.
Yes. And this is the exact moment Cyrano falls completely, dangerously in love.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because all that public bravado can only protect him so much, the scene shifts to a quiet Parisian garden at night. Just Cyrano and Marion. Cyrano is practically vibrating with energy. He is overflowing with romantic metaphors, desperate to confess his feelings.
The contrast here is so striking. You have Cyrano's boiling passion meeting Marion's grounded wisdom. She warns him that love isn't a forest you just run into.
She calls it a secret garden, right?
Yes, a secret garden that requires immense patience. She sees right through his bravado to the wounded boy underneath.
Picture this tension for a second. Cyrano is literally holding a love poem he wrote for her, agonizing over whether to read it. He finally just goes for it. He starts reading this raw, vulnerable confession out loud. And just as he is on the edge of this massive declaration, a night watchman shouting the midnight hour interrupts them.
The timing is just brutal. But it's important to note how Marion uses the interruption. She uses it to hit pause.
She establishes a boundary.
Exactly. She tells him midnight is for illusions. She asks him to hold on to those words and want his true feelings into the clear light of tomorrow. She's asking for time to figure out if his fire is real or just a mirage.
But Cyrano is a creature of impulse. He has absolutely no patience for tomorrow. Which brings us to the climax of this deep dive, the balcony disaster.
It's hard to even watch this unfold.
It's agonizing. Cyrano goes to Marion's balcony in the middle of the night and starts declaiming his passionate poem from the street below her window.
And you can feel the tonal shift immediately. Marion comes out, but she's uncomfortable. She's actively trying to shush him.
And then comes the ultimate gut punch. Paul Scarron steps out.
Onto Marion's balcony.
Yes, onto Marion's balcony. Imagine pouring your absolute soul out to your crush, only to have your cynical mentor step out from her room and roast you.
He's holding a drink, he's tipsy, and he loudly mocks Cyrano's heartfelt words. He calls them cliché imitations of Petrarch and Ronsard.
Which, for you listening, would be like telling a modern poet they sound like a cheesy greeting card from the 50s. It's devastating.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we see Cyrano's ultimate defining choice right here. How does he react to his armor being dismantled by the very man who helped him forge it?
He doesn't scream or throw a fit, does he?
No. He maintains this freezing, terrifyingly polite dignity. He bids Marion a peaceful night, walks into the shadows, and slowly tears his beautiful poem into pieces.
That tearing of the paper is the final pivot. Standing there in the dark, Cyrano declares he is done with the soft, lying world of salons and words.
The pen has failed him.
Completely. He decides right then and there to abandon literature. He will go to the army to prove his worth with a sword, with iron.
It is the birth of the tragic hero. He walks away brokenhearted, but totally unbent.
So what does this all mean? We just watched a boy forge a titan's identity out of his own shame, only to have his heart broken by the very mentor who helped build him up, leading him to abandon the pen for the sword.
I think it connects so deeply to all of us. We all have moments where we rebrand ourselves or put our most vulnerable truths on the line. Cyrano teaches us that while rejection might force us to change our path, keeping our honor intact during the fall is what actually defines us.
It's not about never falling, it's about how you fall. And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you today. Think back to the very first scene. Aunt Catherine desperately tried to save Cyrano from the army. She pushed him toward poetry to keep him alive.
But the poetry is what broke him.
Exactly. In the end, the heartbreak of poetry is exactly what drove him into the arms of the military. Makes you wonder, can we ever truly escape the destiny our family fears for us? Or do our attempts to run away just lead us right back to it? Something for you to ponder until next time.